Man, they ought to have aerobics in this. It's almost like Bikram yoga. Since days of Wonder Wounds. I squeeze 3, get your cherry and 3.
For the cleaner, your daughter's tied up in the Brooklyn basement. Face it, not guilty. That's how I stay true.
So in any event, what's up, everybody? Hopefully this thing continues recording. I don't know.
But I know people are going to watch this and be like, Katarina, you're not believing anything. I mean, when we're talking about the high-level capture and kill of a kingpin, and we are barely being given any public information.
So anyways, we've got Kat and Vince on here again, as you can see. CJNG winning the cartel war, Shine Bomb panicking as narcos grab power, question marks, Vince Vargas and Kat Szulc. And anyways, you can see them right here. It's not hard to see. She's clearly in her little hotel room where she's been recording all of this stuff with the same flowers in the back corner. I don't know if you can see it because of the microphone, but anyways, it's right there. All of her stuff hanging up on the wall. In any event, and it is a hotel room because it's got like this little fake bar with Formica board on top of it. Whatever. I'm not getting into that. So she's not based in Mexico. Let's make sure this thing's still recording. And it is. Good. So, in any event, I want this over here so you guys can see what I've done. In order to go through these videos, you have to, let me get this out of the way. In order to go through these videos, there's a lot to them, you know, and these guys act like they're experts on everything. So I'm going to show you a little bit about my process, about how I do this. I took this video, I came down here, I went to the share link, grabbed the copy thing, came over to a YouTube transcript generator, which is right here, and it came up with the timestamps on everything. Right when I start recording, every time there's a siren and all this stuff, just to really need to take care of that. In any event, I'll grab their share link from their thing over here, copy that, come over to a YouTube transcript generator, grab that, copy the transcript, then come over here and throw it into a document. And I figured it would be an interesting thing, and I take notes too. And I'm doing this with Johnny Mitchell and Ed. I'm doing this with Vince Vargas and Ed. And I'm doing this with Katarina Szulc and Vince Vargas. And just right here, you know, they didn't even go there is a quote. And we can go right here. In fact, I just accidentally inserted that in there. Let's go. They didn't even go there. They didn't. Yeah, I got so much hate for this cover. Those people, they didn't even go there. Who cares? That's Kat Szulc. Hey, Kat, you went there as a tourist. Let's just be super clear, man. So I worked there for several years. I haven't heard anything from you or Vince at all. In fact, Vince has at least got back to me. You are just some ecky Canadian chick that overpronounces. You know, I'm going to clown that all the time, trying to sound extra ethnic. Tapalpa, Zaragoza, Jalisco, Tijuana. I hate it when people do that, you know, but whatever. If you want to sound stupid, you go ahead. I figured it would be interesting, you know, a 50 cal. I'm laughing about that too, you know. In fact, just in real time, let me tell you about 50 caliber machine guns. Vince actually got it right. Kat, the Mexican military, in terms of 50 caliber machine guns that are mounted on top of patrol vehicles, which they would be, generally they use 7.62 by 51 millimeter when it's a belt-fed machine gun or anything else like that. If it's a 50 cal, it would depend on whether you're talking about a machine-mounted 50 cal, similar to a Modus, or a 50 cal body, which is a sniper rifle, which they would use. But when you're talking about massive amounts of shells laying on the ground, that would be something that's machine-mounted on a tripod, or a bipod, or some type of truck mount to where they would have that. The Mexican Marines do use that. The whole time I was there, I have never seen the Mexican Army use it. And just to come over here and have just a quick look at this, we'll just come over here, go to our little Google search function, and then we're going to go calibre 50 Ejército Mexicano, and we'll see what they've got. Images. Personal perteneciente al Cuerpo de Fuerzas Especiales CFG del Ejército Mexicano. Se les ven aquí el pase de revista para el desfile militar. So they've got a 50 cal right here. So is it possible? Yeah, it could be. Likely? Probably not, because when you go out to, here's something else. You'll never see this out on the street. They've got this too. But that's a minigun. Typically what you're going to see on a patrol unit, that's another 50 cal. Browning M2. That's exactly what I said, calibre 50. Typically what you're going to see when you're out on patrol is a mini-me like this. This is what you will see while you're out on patrol. These are everywhere. Everybody and their mother uses this. This is used everywhere. Super typical of what we use all over the place. It's mounted on top of you can see the mount that it's on. They use them even the Marines have them. Everybody, Mini-Me MK3, Mark III. So everybody in the Mexican military typically uses this. The 50 cal, not so much. Doubtful. I doubt it. But let's get back to your claims. So is it possible? Yeah. Hey, Vince, it's possible that there was a 50 cal there. I doubt it. So let's get back to our little document thing. I figured that it would be interesting, since you guys are experts, to find how many times in your video you guys said the word no. Like you know something. So let's go through all of them, shall we? So, but I know people are going to watch this and be like, Karen, you're not believing anything. So that's not anything. My next guess is Katarina Szulc. You guys know who she is. Yeah, we do. Let's see if you guys know anything about the cartel in the entire 66 times you guys say the word no in your entire, what is it? 58 minutes and 23 seconds. Let's see how many times you guys know something. Now, as we know, the Mexican federal government has a really big problem with American boots on the ground. We saw this happen with Ryan Wedding, right? You see two military helicopters flying over. You know narco stuff is about to hit the fan, right? Let's see. It would have to be a hit-kill operation, which would have completely defied the entire narrative that the Mexican federal government or Sedena, Ricardo Trejo or Tejo, I don't even know. So you don't even know the Secretary of Defense's name that you're talking about. There's that. Cartel expert Sean Ryan right there doesn't know the Mexican Secretary of National Defense's name. You know the shootout. Because you know he can't speak. You know, there was this too. I guess that he is dead because you know now he can't speak. I've heard that he had several ledgers with a lot of different people. I've heard. You know, this is something else too. Cremated. They say think 74 times. They say no 66 times. And so far I'm on the 8th no that they don't even know anything. We had someone reach out to us once and said they believe they know. But I mean, you know, obviously we know how U.S. Intel works, do you? Like the honeypot thing, or you know. So they had to, like, you know, take out their anger on one. Where you know anything about the cartel? I think that if he knew that she would have known things were heating up. But I know people are going to watch this and be like, okay, you're not believing anything. Like, you know, I know a lot of men over there that probably could pass for him. You know, I'm looking for something where you guys actually know something, but I don't know if those are 50 cal. You know, here's the thing. Do you even know what brand the ammo was? Was it Aguila? You know, what you're down there as a tourist taking pictures in what was quickly going to become a cordoned off crime scene. You didn't speak to any government people that I know of. Did you speak to anybody? I've spoken to several people working on that. I'm just curious if you actually do know anything, because I'm not seeing anything. I don't know if those are 50 cal. Not like purposely, you know what I mean? I don't know how to say that. Know that it's confusing. And she's like, I don't know. I don't know. You know. You know, high-level special operations guy used that. These guys, dude. I got to get through all the, because you know. I don't know her personally. You know, right after his death. Like, you know, I'm going somewhere with all of this, guys. Just bear with me. Like, you know, well-known journalist in Canada. Yeah, about that, too. So one of the guys I interviewed after the El Mencho was a well-known journalist in Canada. He talks about he believes some of the next targets will be in Canada because, yeah, Sam Cooper. Sam Cooper's another guy that we should really do a deep dive in. Much like Katarina Szulc and her 2-year tech degree out of Surrey, British Columbia, becoming like Canadian journalist extraordinaire based in Mexico, sitting in a hotel room. Sam Cooper's right there at that same echelon. That same level. So, I don't know when this is coming out. It's you know. So they say it's twice. It's you know, every big name that you can think of in the cartel drug space. Where do you know anything? You know, there's a couple memes out there. You know, March this person. I'm curious to know. Well, we've heard, you know, I don't know, you know. It's the same thing over and over, but I don't know, you know, drug networks. There's nothing in there that they actually know. I'm curious where in this entire hour you guys actually know anything. But I've known about him, and you know, I've had a lot of respect for him. Vince Vargas, can't change any of it. Joe Kent. Yeah, they're talking about Joe Kent now. There's nothing in here where they actually know something. And so, if we go with, I think, let's see how many times think is in the document. Think is in the document 74 times. I think it's interesting. Let's go to the next one. I'm watching all these experts talk about what they think is happening, all this stuff. I had military people hit me up. There's no actual military sources in here that they'll name by name, but I think he's dead. What I think happened, I think that Mexico, so I think he's dead. I think this is what happened. I think that Mencho had been in contact. So I think the U.S. passed intelligence to Mexico. I think a few members of the Special Forces group. I think the rest of them were told. They've got 74 claims in here where I got to go down each one where they think something is happening. I think that when Special Forces got there, But I do think that he's dead. And I can understand why people would say that they don't think he's dead. And I think that that's why the U.S. had been kind of odd in their response. I think those are fake. I don't think that those are real ledgers. Let's see how many times they say sources. Because that would be interesting too. So let's just go. How the hell you have sources? Who do you think you are? So I got funny. I don't have my source anymore. Under source. Let's see how many times they said something. Let's see how many times they quote anybody. 0 quotes in the whole thing. 0 quotes. 0 stated. I gotta pause this. Anyways, getting back to this. I just totally got sidetracked. This thing's not recording right. But getting into their deal here, you can see that there's and that's what they said. They were just responsible. Let's go through all the times they said something in here and see if we can even get someone to quote. I'm actually related. Hey man, I'm actually related by marriage. His wife is a cousin of the family. And he said, between us, and I said, can I say this publicly? They're not quoting anybody. Every single time they bring up a source, it's some anonymous individual. When they said he was killed, he said it was also cremated almost pretty much immediately, which even that right there is just complete malarkey. I did some other videos on that this morning with my wife and also while I was at the gym. You know what? You are never going to see people, almost never see people cremated in Mexico. And when they are someone that's cremated, it's somebody that's cremated because they don't have the money to afford a funeral plot. And the cartel bosses, name one other cartel boss that you know of that's been cremated ever. You know, not going to happen. You can't name even one. There's not even one. Let's see what else they said here. When I said that online, people friggin' went nuts. Obviously, the U.S. said they were responsible. Who in the U.S.? I'm told that Mencho had an M4 and he still put it down. An M4 is not anything big. I'm told. Told by who? They said they would have said, make sure you can get it. Who is it that's saying all of this? You can go through the whole thing. It literally said 50 cal on some of the shells. You can go through this whole thing. They can't even agree between both of them working at the same thing, the same agency or corporation, Ironclad, what the shells were. So that's this. Let's just pause this for a sec. And then even getting into Ed Calderon and Vince Vargas' thing, where they're claiming that biometrics were run. Yeah, by who, what, where, and when, dude. Not after he died. Do you have any hard proof of that? Some people allegedly saw a body bag. Death certificate mentioned. You know what we did see? We saw some Italian guy online getting his head beat in when he was trying to take pictures of Mencho's funeral. We saw that. Possibility of fake death. And then Kat Szulc is sitting here talking about a body being cremated. I just ran this through ChatGPT real quick. The entire transcript. Zacatecas is hot. It's crazy that I can work right there, but I don't hear anything from these guys. And none of these guys actually know anything, but they're presenting all this stuff just to sell products, which is my entire point. No one's quoted in the entire thing. Did they actually quote anyone? Yes, but mostly indirectly. They do not present formal source quotes like official statement by X released on Y Instead, they'd refer to WhatsApp chatter, cartel communications paraphrased. People in government said, yeah, who? Who in government said what? What friends, sources, FBI contacts told them. It's all bullshit, dude. Refer to what family members allegedly said. This is after El Mencho. Mexico cartels may shift to full-scale insurgency, Ed Calderon. Just all the bullshit that goes on. Biometrics were run. Let's see exactly what is stated by biometrics. Exactly. Let's see what exactly. They're referring to scientific identity. Quote from transcript, dude. Come on. So if there was a ledger with names and people on it, would probably be at the house. Also, he was run through biometrics. The American side confirmed elements of those biometrics. Things were done, and if they were hiding a body, we did the same overseas. So what they're saying is authorities processed the body using biometric identification methods. U.S. agencies allegedly confirmed part of that identification. This is presented as source-based intelligence, not public proof. They themselves did not see the biometric report. Let's see if the biometric report exists. So apparently, these guys over here at Millennial, and this is auto-dubbed into English, the Fiscalía General de la República, so the Attorney General's Office of Mexico, has biometrically identified the body of El Mencho. However, I haven't seen any pictures, so, you know, who's to say? But let's just listen to this real quick.
A few moments ago, the Attorney General's office confirmed the identity of El Mencho. Let's go with you, Ruben Mozo, with all the information from the Attorney General's
Ruben
office.
Mozo.
Go ahead, Ruben.
From the Attorney...
Good afternoon to you and to the entire audience. Well, yes, it's...
From the Attorney General's office. He's actually there talking to government people.
Rightly say, a few moments ago, the Attorney General's office officially reported that the body of Mencho Cervantes El Mencho, leader of the Jalisco Nueva Generación cartel, who died after a confrontation with the Army Special Forces, has been genetically identified. Likewise, the Attorney General's office is indicating that ministerial, expert, and federal ministerial police personnel traveled to the town of Tapalpa over there in Jalisco to remove process that has formally identified the bodies of the other members of the criminal organization who lost their lives during this operation carried out yesterday by the Special Forces of the Secretariat of National Defense. The agency.
So right here, they're saying that it was the Secretary of National Defense, which would be the Army. So it was Army Special Forces, not the Marines that did it. This reporter, and sorry, but his name, Ruben Mozo, is at the Fiscalía General de la República. And this is just a few moments ago. This was uploaded on February 23rd of 2026. So on the 23rd of February 2026, they are saying that they biometrically identified the body of Mencho at the Attorney General's office, presumably in Ciudad de Mexico, in the capital. Let's continue.
She also said that as a result of these violent acts that were recorded in various parts of the country, the public prosecutor's offices have already opened 57 investigation files in 14 states of the Republic, 37 of them in the state of Jalisco, where the most incidents of violence by members of this criminal organization were.
So that's crazy because he's sitting right here saying, this is important. They're saying that they opened up 57 files, criminal investigation files, on people involved with what was going on. Presumably a large number of those people are going to be at Mencho's funeral. And so when the Italian guy is getting his head caved in, you know, the National Guard's there, the police are there, the Ministerial police are there. The Italian student over at Tec de Monterrey that wants to take a picture of Mencho's funeral is there, gets his head caved in, is rescued by the National Guard. There's news coverage of this. No one's taking a picture of the body. Where are all the reporters and everything? The police are all over the place. Nobody's arrested. Let's just continue with this.
Recorded. Members of this criminal organization were recorded. The institution also indicated that it is carrying out the necessary procedures to continue with the investigations for the crimes of organized crime and violation of the federal law on firearms and explosives after the event that took place in Tapapa.
It also noted that the Attorney General's Office, the Special Prosecutor's Office for Organized Crime, has in its possession rifles with accessories, various weapons, rifles, a rocket launcher, handguns, live ammunition, grenades, and mortar shells, as well as 2 possible members of one of this criminal group who were arrested and presented before the Public Prosecutor's Office.
Those people and the seized objects are now at the disposal of the Attorney General's office to carry out these proceedings. Now, all that is expected is for the identification and autopsies of 3 more people who lost their lives during their transfer in Mexico City to be carried out. That is what the Attorney General's office is indicating, and the investigations will continue.
Rube, this means that the body is in a facility here in Mexico City and waiting, as Omar Garcia would say this morning, for the relatives to identify it and claim the body, right?
That's right. So it is in a federal facility. It has not been specified if it is actually.
So the body's in Mexico City, which means that they had to transport it back to Jalisco. Let's just watch.
Due to the character he is. We have seen on previous occasions that when there are blows from the Army and the Navy, these types of bodies of these characters are not taken to just any facility, but are kept under the protection of the military or the Navy due to possible reprisals. And as we have seen historically, many of those bodies of drug lords have sometimes even been rescued, taken by the drug traffickers themselves.
Now we know from a statement by the Secretary of Defense that Mencho died in transport. That's what they said. That Mencho died in transport. In fact, let me pull up the exact quote. So right here, this is in Spanish. I don't know how many.
En la tarde del día de hoy, hace aproximadamente 16 minutos,
The 22nd
la
of February.
Secretaría de la Defensa Nacional informó este día, primero confirma que efectivamente Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes está muerto. Dice en su comunicado lo siguiente la Secretaría de la Defensa.
This is Comunicado de Prensa number 3. The Secretary of National Defense informs the operation for the detention of Ruben N. Mencho. They're talking about in partnership with the Central National Intelligence Agency of the Fiscalía General de la República, or the Attorney General's Office, Mexican Special Forces from Sedena planned and executed an Operation Tapalpa, Jalisco. I'm going to pause to where we get exactly the part where Secretary of National Defense is confirming that he's dead. In fact, just reading this, I can see right here, durante esta operación personal militar fue atacado, por lo que en defensa de su integridad repelieron la agresión resultando 4 integrantes del grupo delictivo CJNG, fallecidos en el lugar y 3 heridos de gravedad quienes perdieron la vida durante su traslado vía área a la Ciudad de Mexico. So it's already saying right here that during the military operation, 3 people lost their life during the air transport to Ciudad de Mexico, or the capital. So that's what's going on. Let's see what else they say. So right here they are mentioning, entre esos últimos se encuentra Rubén N. a Mencho. Sin embargo, serán las autoridades correspondientes las que se encargaron de las actividades periciales para su identificación. So, the Mexican military, the Secretary of National Defense, Trujillo, and we'll have him right over here. Where's he at? I want you guys to see him. Ricardo Trevilla Trejo is the Secretary of National Defense, and he's right here confirming in this comunicación de prensa that right here, comunicado de prensa number 3, Defensa, Secretaría de Defensa Nacional. So this is authorized directly by General Trevilla, saying that Mencho died. There's no photos of the bodies, and then later on, the Fiscalía General de la República with the forensic unit, Perezales, will go on to biometrically state that they have confirmed it was Ruben Oseguera Cervantes that died. So getting into whether or not anyone's actually seen the body, no, nobody has. Let's go into that. So looking for photos of his death, there aren't any. La Fiscalía General de la República, so the Attorney General's office, confirmed in February of 2026 la muerte de Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, which is weird that they would call him Nemesio when his name's apparently Ruben. Él es Mencho, líder del cartel de Jalisco de nueva generación. Tras un operativo de seguridad, the identification se ratificó mediante pruebas genéticas y peritajes forenses con un 99.9% de certeza, so 99.9% proof through genetics that it is him. Resguardo del cuerpo. The body remains with the Fiscalía General de la República, so just think Mexican FBI. Initially, the body was not claimed, but days after, the families and lawyers initiated the process to reclaim the body, and then the reports indicated that his remains were sepultados in Zapopan, Jalisco. So sepultados. This is what's coming off right now, and I want you guys to see for yourself. We'll just go right here so you guys can see I'm not pulling any funny business. Sepultados says buried. It's right there, sepultados. It doesn't say cremated. When you say cremated in Spanish, right here, I want you to see cremada. So it says right here that remains were sepultura, sepultados. Informes indicaron que sus restos fueron sepultados en Zapopan, Jalisco. So why can't Szulc would say that Mencho was cremated is just crazy, dude. Where'd you get that? Let's look into this. So I'm sitting right here listening to this report from Univision, and there's this gentleman right here, Jose Luis Montenegro, periodista y autor del libro Los Chapitos. So he's an author. He's on Univision in Mexico. Major news source. That's what we're getting our information from, Kat, right here. And we're going to see how it is you come up with Mencho has been cremated and you don't know or whatever. We're going to get this down to brass tacks just using open source intelligence, Kat. Nothing crazy, something everyone at home can do. You can do this too, Vince. So, hey, Kat, when we go look at this guy, Jose Luis Montenegro, he's based in Mexico and the U.S. Let's see what he works for. Here he is in The Guardian. Is a Mexican journalist and author who has written for Newsweek and Espanol, the Associated Press, and the MVS radio station, Los Chapitos. I want to look at his Indeed.com. Well, he was on Univision right here. So here he is on Univision. And if we look at Univision in Mexico, let's look that up. So just to be clear, Univision is actually Televisa Univision, the two combined in 2022. So there is actually a footprint in Mexico, and I'm going to go out on a limb and bet you that Mr. Jose Luis Montenegro speaks English. I'm pretty sure he does. Well, you know what? I'm digging into this guy, and he worked for Telemundo, which is also an American-based company. You know what? He might not even be Spanish. I'm going to be surprised, dude. Jose Luis Montenegro. Says he's a Mexican journalist and author who has written for Newsweek in Spanish, the Associated Press, but I'm not seeing him actually being attached to any Mexican news agency that's strictly based in Mexico, which is just crazy. You know, you start digging into this stuff. Yeah, it's right here. He's a freelance journalist. Every single time you dig into one of these guys over here in the United States, it's never somebody based in Mexico and the U.S. specializing on crimes, author of Narco Juniors, Los Chapitos. Yeah, he's in L.A. Yeah, he's in L.A., so he's not even in Mexico either. This guy, one more guy. You got to be careful because these guys will throw curveballs by you quick. All right, so we're going to get away from Mr. Montenegro, and we're going to go with somebody else. We're going to go with these guys. Rodrigo Rico, Milenio TV. Let's just verify that. All right, so we're going with Milenio TV. Yes, Milenio Televisión is a Mexican 24-hour cable news channel owned by Grupo Multimedios based in Mexico City and Monterrey, which is in Nuevo León. It is recognized as one of the most watched cable news networks in Mexico. So for all of you guys out there wanting to know if you're getting authentic, not this Jose guy that's working for Univision and all this other stuff based in LA. If you want authentic Mexican news, go over to Milenio TV. You can see it in English. I've got it right here. And so the Fiscalía General de la República actually turned the body of Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes El Mencho over to, right here, we'll watch it right now.
Con los protocolos establecidos entre el general de la República informó que tras cumplir con los protocolos establecidos entregó a los familiares el cuerpo de Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes El Mencho.
So this is social communication by the Federal Attorney General's office, communicated on the 28th of February 2026, Ciudad de México. The Fiscalía General de la República informa que luego de agotar todos los procedimientos protocolarios necesarios, entrega el cuerpo, not the cenizas, not the ashes, Cat. They're turning the body of Ruben Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes to his family. Para tal efecto se realizaron pruebas genéticas para confirmar que efectivamente existían lazos consanguíneos entre quien solicitó la entrega y el oquiso. So they did genetic testing to make sure that they turned the body over to the correct people. That's what this is saying right here. Let's continue.
consanguínea entre el solicitante y el occiso, garantizando así la certeza jurídica del procedimiento. Hay que recordar que el lunes 23 de febrero el personal de la Agencia de Investigación Criminal identificó genéticamente el cuerpo del líder del cártel Jalisco Nueva Generación, luego de que terminara hierro y posteriormente muerto tras un enfrentamiento.
Right here is footage of them turning it over.
Hemos estado con nuestras cámaras afuera de las instalaciones y aunque se vio la entrada y salida de carrozas, hasta el momento hemos podido constatar que no han trasladado ningún cadáver, es decir, se han movido vacías estas carrozas. Y precisamente para ir al punto se encuentra nuestra compañera Areli Lorenzana, quien ha captado la imagen y ha tenido las entradas y salidas. Ya lo hacemos ahorita, Areli. Llegaron algunos familiares y piden el cuerpo de Nemesio Ceguera Cervantes.
Gracias, Rodrigo. Buenas tardes. Sabes que aquí en Milenio hemos dado un puntual seguimiento en específico a el traslado de los restos, en este caso de Nemesio Oseguera, alias el Mencho. Sin embargo, durante esta tarde, alrededor de la 1:30 de la tarde, fue cuando logramos capturar estas dos carrozas.
Hey guys, this is exactly what I'm talking about when you listen to all this bullshit in the United States. Areli, this reporter, is right here. Where's her name at again? I want to get it right. Areli Lorenzana, a Mexican reporter, right here, exactly at the government facility where Cat and Vince and all these other so-called Johnny Mitchell wannabe cartel reporters should be. Machine guns all over the place. It's not camera, it's live right here in vivo up in the top if you can see it. You can barely see it. And this is exactly what I'm talking about when all these guys are sitting here going around all of this stuff. I don't know how much I'm going to edit all this today because I just want to get it out. But this database that I'm building about all these claims, this is precisely right here what I'm talking about. Milenio, Mexican news source, Mexican reporter, Areli Lorenzana, right there at the facility, the PGR, or the, well, I call it PGR, it's the FGR, the Fiscalía General de la República, Attorney General's office. And I will translate this all into English so you can see it.
Sin embargo, durante esta tarde, alrededor de la 1:30 de la tarde, fue cuando logramos capturar estas dos carrozas fúnebres que ingresaron al Centro Federal Pericial Forense, ubicado en la alcaldía Cuauhtémoc, límites con la alcaldía Azcapotzalco. Sin embargo, cuando estas dos carrozas fúnebres salieron...
You know what? Actually, I can do this right now. One sec. Let's come over here. Let's go to this. Oh, actually, no, I can't. I have to translate it because it's on Facebook.
Estas dos carrozas fúnebres salieron, no pudimos percatarnos de que al interior efectivamente se encontrara los restos de alguna persona, únicamente
So she couldn't get close enough to take a picture inside. Is what she just
said.
Said.
Sacos forenses, algunos sacos periciales, sacos forenses, pero al interior no pudimos efectivamente poder constatar que al interior viajaban los restos de Nemesio Oseguera. Sin embargo, algo también importante, Rodrigo, que mencionabas tú, es que la Fiscalía General de la República ya emitió...
In that picture, it looked like there was a body bag in there. It's definitely not something that was cremated there at the Fiscalía.
Ocurrido el día de hoy. Informó que luego de agotar todos los procedimientos protocolarios necesarios, se entregó ya el cuerpo de Rubén N., alias el Mencho, a los familiares. Para tal efecto, pues se realizaron, como ya mencionabas, también algunas pruebas genéticas para poder confirmar que efectivamente...
She just called him Ruben, too.
Lazos consanguíneos entre quien solicitó la entrega del cuerpo sin vida de Nemesio Oseguera y también los familiares, así como el occiso. Nosotros nos encontramos en estos momentos a las afueras de una funeraria en la alcaldía Cuauhtémoc, donde llegaron estas dos carrozas fúnebres alrededor de la 1:40 de la tarde. Fueron en total, Rodrigo, 6 kilómetros los recorridos desde el Centro Pericial Forense hasta esta funeraria. Hasta este momento no ha habido un mayor despliegue operativo por parte de elementos de las fuerzas federales. únicamente lograron ingresar, no tenemos mayor presencia por parte de autoridades y por supuesto estaremos muy atentos de lo que ocurra durante los siguientes minutos, las siguientes horas a las afueras de esta funeraria aquí en la alcaldía Cuauhtémoc, Rodrigo.
Y parte de las pruebas que tuvieron que hacer de ADN fueron estas pruebas cosanguíneas para poder entregar los restos a sus familiares, y es así como con este operativo, ahí se ve precisamente la imagen, es que la Fiscalía General de la República entrega el cuerpo a algunos de sus familiares. Te agradezco como siempre, Areli.
Atentos, Rodrigo, buenas tardes.
Buena tarde.
So hey, so that's Rodrigo right here, and let's just real quick look up Araceli, or not Araceli, Areli Lorenzana. One sec, let's look her up. So here we go, we've got her. She's doing something May 1st, 2025, May 2nd, 2025. Other things. Nuestra reportera Areli Lorenzana. So she's been working Telediario, Mexico. So this lady's been around a little bit. And if we look at her, she's all over the place. Here you go. So she's been doing this in Mexico for quite a while. Not some grifter, fly-by-night, let's go to a hotel in Mexico City and be afraid to drive across the Mexican Republic because we're looking for cartel people. This person right here. If you want your news, go to Areli Lorenzana, AreliLorenzana. Translate it yourself. She'll hook you up, okay? I don't even know this lady, and I'm promoting her. I'm not telling you to like and subscribe to my channel. Go like and subscribe to her channel because she's the one getting it done. This lady right here. Just super cool, man. Hey, well done. No, we can't see the body. This is when it left the Fiscalia. Facts at government facilities, not hearsay. Also looking into his funeral, his sepultura. It just said in that video, you guys couldn't hear it, but when he was being translated, it was being translated to a funeral home there in Mexico City, and I'm assuming that they were going to take it to Zapopan, Jalisco. It would have been a funeral home that had done it. It went from the chain of custody on Oseguera Cervantes' body, went from the Fiscalía General de la República, so the Attorney General's office, to a funeral home there in Mexico City, and then the funeral home itself would have transported the body, the remains, to Zapopan, Jalisco. And it says right here that Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, alias El Mencho, was buried in a private ceremony 2026, February 22nd. Well, actually, that doesn't say that. We're going to get into his exact funeral date and see what's up with that. Apparently, BBC is right here saying that on March 3rd, 2026, Mexican drug lord El Mencho buried in a golden coffin right here. Infamous Mexican drug lord Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, this is BBC, also known as El Mencho, was buried in a golden casket by his family on Monday. The cartel leader died after being wounded, blah, blah, blah. Members of the National Guard were out in force to prevent fresh violence from breaking out during the colorful funeral near Guadalajara in Jalisco State, a stronghold for the cartel. Large floral tributes were seen being carried into the funeral home ahead of the ceremony, including one shaped like a rooster in reference to his love of cockfighting. So here's this. There's the rooster. According to AFP news agency, 5 lorries or 5 trucks were needed to take all the tributes to the cemetery, most of which had been sent anonymously to the cemetery. The funeral procession was accompanied by a band playing ranchero music and narco creators, songs praising drug lords. The traditional song was played. as Oseguera's gold-colored coffin arrived at the chapel located inside the cemetery grounds, local media reported. So a lot of times when they're having a funeral in Mexico, it'll take place at the funeral home, the viewing, and then they'll transport it. But apparently here, the body is right there at the cemetery where they're going to bury it, is what I'm getting out of this. After an hour-long ceremony, the mourners, many of whom concealed their identities using face masks, followed the coffin as it was carried to the grave. So, hey, Kat and Vince, do you guys not read? Because you just got done saying that he was cremated. This is saying super clearly that his coffin was carried to the grave. So why would a family that's going to cremate their Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes, why would they bury a coffin that they have his cremated remains in? That doesn't make any sense, Kat, Vince. Holy shit, man. You know what? I get tired of having to do this. I haven't even gotten to the Johnny Mitchell Ed Calderon video yet. Ah, fucking hell, man. This is just going down everything one step at a time. British Broadcasting Company or Corporation sitting right here the day of the funeral, pointing all this out. Mexican media noted that the plot was relatively plain compared with those of other drug lords, which are often topped by large mausoleums. Another picture, Ulysses Ruiz, AFP via Getty Images. The drug lord was buried in Jalisco State late on Monday. So this is right here. You guys can look it up yourself. Some mourners concealed their identities with face masks. Some mourners, not all. Hold up, because there's more. I want you to listen to this, because I've already interviewed the guy that she did the cartel rehab bullshit story with twice. Cool dude, Mark Rivera. Supposed cartel operated. So cartel operated that the municipal or the mayors of Tijuana sit there and give them cars and gasoline. Let's listen to what Kat has to say.
But I know people are going to watch this and be like, Katarina, you're not believing anything. I mean, when we're talking about the high-level capture and kill of a kingpin, and we are barely being given any public information, not only does it leave room for speculation, it's valid speculation.
Hey, Kat, I know you got rid of your beer that you had over there. Good for you. You got your flowers over there. Hey, Kat and Vince. I'm not a tourist. I worked there. I worked exactly against Cartel de Jalisco de Nueva Generacion. I've worked against the Zetas. I've worked against the Gulf Cartel, the Sinaloa Cartel, etc. When I'm being critical of you guys, it's not because I care that she's from Canada or that you don't want to have dinner with me, Vince, or you and Sean and Vince won't do CQB with me with rubber bullets. It's not because I'm trying to make any money or sell any products. It's because you guys disgrace the uniform that myself and my brothers wear and that our other brothers have been buried in by this type of garbage. This is exactly the type of garbage that I'm talking about. Vince, in fact, you know what I am going to title this today's video? Garbage from Vince Vargas and Katarina Szulc, because you guys are too lazy to go through and read a BBC article and get with Aurelie Lazarano, whatever her name is. I've got Lorenzana. Yeah, Aurelie Lorenzana, reporter. Actually go to a government building like Aurelie does. Get actual data from General Trevillas. Don't even know the Secretary of Defense's name. Can't be bothered to go to a single government institution and come back here to the United States. Kat, you're not even from the United States. And spill all your bullshit out to my countrymen in both countries of Mexico and the United States with lie after lie after lie. He was cremated when you got British Broadcasting Company right there lowering his casket, several other sources saying that he was buried. Actual Mexican news sources, Milenio, not Televisa, not Univision, but actual Mexican reporters in Mexico claiming that he was buried. One sec. And you're asking why we're critical. One sec. Let's just get to this. So here, you guys, you can just come over here into the AI thing, put in the cremated thing, go right to 219. This video discusses the rumors surrounding the death of El Mencho, including the claim that the body was cremated almost immediately. Hey, Kat and Vince, who made that claim? Here we go. 219. Ready? Okay.
The proof of the body. When they said he was killed, they said it was also cremated almost pretty much immediately. Okay.
So this is Vincent's contact. It's not named, saying that he was cremated almost immediately.
Okay, I'll finish.
So how was he cremated almost immediately when days after he's getting pulled out of the Fiscalía General, they're taking genetic tests, they're transporting a body bag that's on camera, going to that thing, and then being buried in a gold coffin. Here we go.
Also, that this whole thing was some kind of play for him to get away, because he was already going to work a deal with America, and maybe this was part of the deal. And so this whole thing is some kind of hidden cover-up. When I said that online, people freaking went nuts. They were talking so much to me. It was the funniest thing. So it went into a space that is not.
And she's over there nodding her head like, yeah.
Mine, right? So these random people didn't think I was even a journalist, and they're like, how the fuck? You have sources? Who the hell do you think you are? So it got funny. But
Aurelia's got sources. She's going to the direct source, the Fiscalía General de la República. El Mencho's body's either in that grave or it's not.
But still to this day, I'm still getting people telling me that's the truth. Now, I would love to hear your opinions on it.
Yeah, I got so much hate for this coverage. Those people didn't even go there. Who cares? Those
people didn't even go there. Who cares? Hey, look, chick. You're a fucking tourist sitting in a hotel room when me and my brothers are showing up in fucking uniform out on the fucking trucks making the bullets that you can't even get the caliber right on. It's so disrespectful what you guys do. In fact, Vince and Sean, I hope the hell you guys take me up on my offer of like doing CQB. I would love getting shot by you guys with rubber bullets, man. Because it's so disgraceful, your coverage of this. Name your sources. Aureli Lorenzana sitting right there taking pictures of the body bag leaving the Fiscalía General de la República. Actually talking to government sources. This chick overpronouncing Tapalpa. Like it's fucking disgusting, man. Try not to use the F word, but man, really. So getting into pictures of the stuff that was going on. Here's this student, an Italian photography student from Tec de Monterrey. Says he was brutally attacked while trying to document the funeral. The National Guard had to rescue him. He's right here. Here's more pictures of his bloody face. It's actually blurred out. I did another video where I had the actual photos of it from Instagram. Here we go. Right here. Tariva, can someone tell him it's not Netflix? So this kid who's a photography student, Kat and Vince, is actually at the funeral where they weren't there. Isn't that what you just said, Kat? Well, he's there. He's taking pictures of the actual funeral. Maybe you should have taken pictures of the actual funeral and went to talk to the cartel people that you sit there and pretend to document. You've never faced them in a gunfight. I have. My brothers have, but you haven't. And you're talking about who's there and who's not. And then Vince and you are sitting there smugly talking about how you're in the know and other people aren't. This kid that got his head cracked open knows more than you do about the entire cartel thing because he's actually there, not winging it on Instagram in some red dress. You know, it's disgusting what you guys get away with. Is Nazario, or not Nazario, I keep calling him Nazario, Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes or Ruben Oseguera Cervantes actually dead? I don't know. I haven't been inside that coffin. I do know that the funeral home that processed it might have something to say about it. I do know that there are other people that would know whether or not the guy was in there or other things. I do know that most of the machine guns carried on top of Chevy Cheyenne trucks for the Secretary of National Defense are Belgian Mini-Me 7.62 by 51 millimeter machine guns, which are not 50 cal. I do know in Zapopan, I do know the American Embassy over there. I know a lot of things, Kat, because I'm not just hanging out there as a tourist like you are, based in Mexico. I'm just going to upload this whole thing so you guys can kind of see my process, and then we can get down to whether or not you and Vince actually have any proof of Cervantes, Oseguera Cervantes actually being cremated, or that's just more stuff that you smoke that you're blowing. You know, it's just, I get tired of going through this. Aurelie Lorenzana, ladies and gentlemen, go be a fan of her and look her up. That's enough out of me for the day. Cheers.
What did you expect? Fools often sometimes forget.